Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports here on 710, seattlesports.com. David, I don't need you freaking out Jarred Kelenic, who's nice enough to sit down at the table with us for a few minutes. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Good. You guys?
You familiar with that song, Righteous Brothers?
No.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, really? It's a great love scene in movie Ghost. They keep teasing me because I think that Luis Castillo is pretty awesome. Like, to bring in an ace pitcher in the middle of a year kind of matters, right?
For sure. For sure. He's definitely a unbelievable talent.
Have you watched him in the Traject machine yet?
No, I haven't, but I definitely do want to face him in real life because I think he's definitely a challenge.
Hey, we've been talking about that machine a lot because I think it's just such an unbelievable technological advancement to be able to mimic virtually every pitcher in the major leagues. And I had heard some stories that you like it, that you like to use the machine. What do you do with it?
I mean, I think that it's good to you can treat it just like a live at bat. And it's about as realistic as it can be without it actually being a live at bat. But you can game plan against it just because you can have someone behind, really picking the spot where the pitch is going to be. And I think it's an extreme advantage.
Would you use it for that day's starting pitcher to track it and kind of see what
sometimes
you're gonna get?
if I don't feel confident, I faced him a bunch or I've never seen him before, yeah, for sure I'll step in there. But if I got an idea of what I'm going up against, that'll just be my regular routine.
So who have you thrown on there? Who have you wanted to face just in
Garrett
warm-up?
Cole, I've done him a few times. Justin Verlander. But mostly those guys.
So if you're going to do it, you want to do it against the best.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
What spring training is this? What number is this for you, Jarred?
I was thinking about that the other day. I think this is 4.
It's your 4th?
I think so.
You're so old now, you can't even remember.
I think it's
What, you turned
4.
23 this year?
Yeah, I think it's 4.
Very old.
How much different is spring training number 4 from where you're at and what you want to get done in this month plus versus spring training number 1?
I think I got a little bit more of an idea of what I need to do to get ready. I got a little bit more of an idea of what the ticks and stuff that I need to feel and need to just do on a daily basis. In short, I just have more of an idea of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. When I hear you talking, some of the press conferences and stuff or post-game scrums, it sounds like a lot of your philosophies this year, whether it's winning every pitch or keeping the ball up the middle, it sounds like you're sort of simplifying the game as much as possible.
Yeah, I think it's a challenge, especially in the big leagues. There's a lot of distractions playing on a national stage. So I think anytime that you can really simplify it and focus on just playing the game, I think it makes your life a lot easier.
Are you somebody who needs that, who needs to, I guess what I'm saying, can you get caught up in your own head in the mental element of the game and almost thinking through too much?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, there's just so much more at stake when you're in the big leagues because you're playing on a national stage. The fans, the media, all that stuff comes into play. And I think anytime that you can, really focus on doing your job, makes it a lot easier.
Well, then you got to love the pitch clock, right? Because I would think that takes all of that out of play. You don't have time to think about anything.
Right.
You got to be right back in there with 8 seconds left, ready to go.
Totally. I mean, I think I'm a big fan when there's a guy on base. I think 20 seconds is the perfect number. It's enough to take a deep breath and to focus in on what you're trying to do and then get back in there. There's some times where when there's nobody on base, the 15 seconds comes quick.
If we were in the cage, Jarred Kelenic with us, if we were in the cage, Jarred, with you senior year of high school before you're taken in the top 10, and we watched you in that batting cage, probably not on that fancy machine, but just on the old school jugs, and we watched you hit, right? And we watched your setup, and we watched your swing. How much different are you now in that way fundamentally than the high school kid drafted in the top 10?
Well, in high school, you'd definitely be there a while. I swung a lot in high school. It's just a lot of reps. And, to me, when I hit it well, it meant it was a good swing. And now, necessarily, that's not the case. I know what makes my swing now. I've studied it a lot this offseason with a lot of great coaches. And so now I just it's a lot shorter.
Yeah.
And just because I don't crush a ball doesn't mean it doesn't mean that it's a bad swing.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's times where, I made round of 10 and you would be like, well, you only hit 4 of them hard, but every swing was good. and I can live with that, And so for me, it's just about getting myself. I talked about those ticks, making sure that those are in line. My drills, they get me right, and I don't really try to look too much into it now.
What'd you learn last year?
Last season?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot. I think to solidify it into one thing, that I learned when I'm called upon to just do whatever I can to help the team win, whatever it may be. And I learned that I learned how to put one foot in front of the other because it was a grind for sure. And when I got back up in September, I just got up there and I was like, I'm just going to do anything. My job, I'm going to focus on just doing that. And, I felt like I played well that last like few weeks of the season. And, that's probably the biggest thing that I learned.
I see it. You can see that, right, when you watch Jarred play, Brock, and you see yesterday beating out a double play ball or throw from right field that's on the money to third base. I wonder how you've been able to, when the bat has struggled at times, how you've been able to not take that into the field with you or into your base running. How hard is that to do, or do you have a secret to it?
No, I don't have a secret. I'm just somebody that when I go out onto the field, do your job. And I've always kind of been able to separate a bad at bat from playing defense because I take pride in the work that I put on defense and on the bases. And so I try to separate everything into their own little category that just because, maybe I had a bad at bat or I didn't take advantage or succeed at the plate, that doesn't mean I can't hose somebody out right here.
So if you go back to last year, I think about sitting down here with you last year, and you had been with Mark McGuire in the off season. We talked through that, and sort of how you were working through kind of not overreacting to plays or at bats, et cetera. And I read that Tom Verducci piece that came out on you a couple of weeks ago, and fairly quickly into the season, what was it, 18 games or so, you start making swing changes, et cetera. How did that happen? How did that process work to get from where you were to where you became to now where you are today?
I think it's a pretty complex question, but I think that anytime something's not working, you got to try to find something that you can't do the same thing over and over again. So, like by default, you want to change when it's not working, and just because it didn't work out, you could say that that's the reason why it didn't work out is because I was making all these changes, but I disagree with that. But for me, I was just trying to find something that was going to work and trying to, find something that was going to get me into a rhythm. And, unfortunately, I couldn't do it consistently. But now I feel like I'm in a great spot.
Good. It's cool.
Where does your joy in baseball come?
When we win. I think.
It's interesting because I think some look at you, and I played a different sport, but I wasn't effervescent. Like I was a grinder, and people would say, "Gosh, I never see you smile on the field. Don't you ever have fun?" But for me, it was just like, man, I love the work. I love the intensity of it, and I think sometimes intensity and joy people confuse or try to figure that stuff out. Outside of winning, like if people were to say, "Man, Jarred, do you have fun out there?" Like I don't see you smile. I mean, everything is so full, 100 miles an hour, so intense. Do you ever have fun playing this game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not somebody that jumps around and does cartwheels and like that's not me. Like I'm not like that in my life outside of baseball. I'm anyone that knows me, I'm super intense with what I do. Like I'm gonna probably go play golf at some point this week, and like it's all business when I'm out there. I'm trying to win. And when I win, that's fun. Like I enjoy that. But I also, what I enjoy the most about the game is like the mind games and like really thinking of digesting things out and like really trying to investigate of why things didn't work out, but then also why things worked out. That's really enjoyable for me because like it just makes you that much more aware, that much more smarter about the game. And it's no different like in golf. Like when I have a great shot, I love to really like think about why it worked out. And when I have a bad shot, think about why it didn't. That's what I really enjoy.
If you hadn't made it to the big leagues and baseball hadn't worked out for you, what do you think you'd be doing?
Honestly, like,
Because
I've thought about this a lot.
I think about that approach to the world, and you seem like a pretty cerebral guy, an intense guy.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I
what
would
you
love
done?
to probably go be a Navy SEAL.
Really?
Yeah, I think
I can see that.
I'm fascinated by what those guys go through. I think those are the baddest dudes on the planet. And
You like to test yourself.
yeah, but also, like, I love their mentality. Like, it doesn't rain, snow, cold, freezing, hot, doesn't matter. Like, you got a job to do, so go and do it. And nobody wants to hear you, pardon my language, nobody wants to hear you bitch. Like, go do your job. Like, so what? It sucks. It's raining. It's cold. Nobody cares. Like, you got guys you got to protect, so go out and do your job.
You and I are not wired alike. I would complain constantly. I'm a complainer. You get me out in the cold, even out here, tomorrow morning I'm going to be complaining nonstop.
Yeah.
Right.
So I admire that. I'm not built like that.
That's why you're on the radio.
I have other skills, thank you.
Yes.
One of them is I'm not wired like a Navy SEAL. Yes. But I wonder how you translate some of that to this game where, not that there's a lot of excuses, but there is a lot of failure.
For sure.
As you know.
Well, there's a lot of things that are out of your control, too. And I think anytime you can really be aware of that in general is an advantage, because I had an at-bat 2 days ago. Umpire made 2 bad calls back to back, and after the first one I wasn't even fazed, but the second one kind of got me for a second, and I even called time because I was I thought to myself, nobody cares in this stadium that this umpire made a bad call. So, I got to get back in the box and strap it on. And I got back in there. I was already in the hole, but I had to battle. And then finished out having a good at-bat. And, that's the stuff that, nobody – if I were to go into the dugout after maybe I struck out, I chased the next pitch, right? Go into the dugout, I'm like, the umpire screwed me on those 2 calls. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So why are we talking about it?
And where did that ball end up, just for the record? The end of that at-bat?
Center field.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good up the middle for a
Right.
home run. And I think about how hard you've been hitting the ball. Think about it yesterday. So yesterday's maybe another good example. Strikeout early, double play ball, right, that you beat out, which was great. And then third at bat, was it 111 miles an hour or so off the bat? But it goes to the second baseman. He makes a really nice kind of look what I found
Can't
play.
control it.
Right, so is that the reaction afterwards? What are you going to do? The process was good.
Yeah. I had missed a pitch, 2 pitches prior. I just fouled it off, and I felt like I was a tick late. So I just told myself, it was 3-1 count. The whole stadium knew a heater was coming. So I was like, I'm not going to be late here. And, I put a great swing on it, and he made a heck of a play. So, he gets paid to do it too.
My last question is I'm sure listening out there's a few workout warriors, right, guys that enjoy working out. And I was watching you throw your med ball against the wall yesterday. So if you enjoy the Navy SEAL, you obviously enjoy fitness. You got a psychotic workout, like off-season workout?
Yeah.
If someone's like, ooh, yeah, I want to do something that Jarred does. I'm telling you right now, my buddy Daniel Hill, he's listening right now. He's a triathlete. He is a psychopath when it comes to workout. What's an off-season psycho Jarred Kelenic workout?
Well, I'm not a guy that, jumps into a freezing pond or something like that.
No,
that's not what I do. But
Nope.
I do, I push myself hard in the weight room. If you were to come in and watch, I love throwing weight around.
Give me a little something. Give me a little routine.
Well, I'm big into Olympic lifts. So hang cleans, power cleans, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll throw up over 300 pounds on a power clean. But just trying to push myself to more than I think I could actually do, more that's necessary,
Mm-hmm.
just because I want to be super strong, I want to move fast, and I want to run fast, I want to throw hard, all that stuff. But I have a trainer too. Obviously, I'm not doing this on my own. But and that's key too, because you got somebody holding you accountable. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But I'm someone that when I get in there, you talk about smile. I'm not smiling in a weight room, so I'm just in there doing my job.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
You like it here? You're happy with? I talked to you last year when I came down to Tacoma, and I remember you talking about some of the voices, a lot of voices, and a lot of different kind of opinions. Right. Has that sorted itself out for you now?
For sure. Yeah. Everybody's a person, so I think we go through phases where you maybe lose track of the avenue that you were on or the road that you were on, or maybe you got to find a new road. Who knows? But I was in a place where I had a lot of people talking to me, which like good or bad or indifferent, it doesn't matter. But spent this off season working with a lot of coaches in terms of like get me back onto a path that like I felt I needed to be on, and right now I'm on a path that I want to be on, and I'm going to stay on, and not letting a lot of people on it.
Who'd you work with?
I mean, a lot of different coaches.
Was it mental skills guys? Was it physical? What kind of stuff?
Yeah, it was everything.
Yeah,
everything. This off season, I wanted to do a lot of just learning. I wanted to be a student, so I just tried to take in as much info as I could.
Jarred, I really appreciate it. It's nice to sit down with you. I think you may be, and I don't know whether it's not a compliment or an insult, one of the more misunderstood people on this team because of, as Brock was saying, the intensity. I'm not sure everyone fully understands just how much you think about the game and sort of that cerebral nature that you bring to it. I really appreciate it, and it's nice kind of talking about baseball with you. So thanks for sitting down. We really appreciate the time. Good luck this year.
Of course.
Go get them.
We're rooting for you, man. We really are.
Appreciate
That's
it.
great.
Thank
There you
you.
go. There's Jarred Kelenic, kind enough to sit down, and we'll talk to Scott Service here coming up in about 15 minutes. But hey, look, man, I've told you before. I think Jarrett's one of the most interesting interviews on this.